right, welcome to the 14th day of July 2026. A very good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us right here at TV47 Breakfast. We do appreciate you for waking up with us. How hot is your tea?
Okay.
This morning.
How hot is your coffee? My name is Freddy Ndivuli, karibu sana. It's exactly 48 hours before the people of Kalou go to vote in the by-election, much anticipated by-election. Campaigns officially ended, so this is the last 48 hours. Kazi ni kuenda tu kungoja kupiga kura peke yake. But cases of violence and electoral malpractice are still being reported, and that is the biggest discussion, of course. Yeah. Away from that, Matters World Cup, the first semi-final to be played today. Yeah. France versus Spain. Yes, at exactly 10 p.m. tonight. Hiyo game itakuwa ile mwecheche.
France and Spain.
Yeah, mwecheche.
Yeah.
I think the most the mouth-watering final for this World Cup for me would be France versus England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Argentina and England, they play?
They're playing tomorrow. That's the second semi-final. Yes. So if at all England qualify and France qualify, wow, that would be nice for me. Yeah. Yeah.
My name is Annie Odida. I didn't say my name to Kianza. So these are the things that are happening. Masaya lala salama pale Kalou.
Yes.
And I think yesterday to Kiongea, I said that this should have been Kasipo should have been at least a lesson to IEBC. Lakini it looks like they didn't learn a thing.
If you look at the dailies today, yes, people are just saying, hey, ni kama hatujalani anything. Not even just the IEBC, the entire country. It's like we've never learned.
Yeah.
Cases of violence still being reported hours before the by-election. It's just a by-election. What's the biggest deal?
Yeah.
The guy will just be there for like a year.
The Kofi Annan report, you say? The Kofi Annan report? Yeah, I say that 87% chances of us going back to the dark times, the 2007, 2008. 87% chance. That is a very huge percentage.
That is really scary.
And that is very significant because Kofi Annan was the chairperson of that peacemaking process between Raila Odinga, the late, and Mwai Kibaki, the late. So if a report by his organization says, or him, says that there is an 87% chance of us going back to, you know, that violence era, then I think that's a call to all of us.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So do interact with us through our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, on X, TV47 Digital. Be sure to tag us. My handle is at Annie_Dida.
Mine is at Freddy Ndimuli. Use the hashtag TV47 Breakfast, hashtag Story Yetu.
I'll see you. All right, let's take a look at the state of the weather. All right, let's see how the weather's looking this morning. It's a cloudy day in Kajiado today, 14 degrees this morning, highs of 24 degrees expected in Kajiado. Nyahururu, it's a partly sunny day, 9 degrees this morning, highs of 23 degrees. It's 17 degrees this morning in Makueni County, highs of 28 degrees, and it's a cloudy day in Makueni. That's as far as Kajiado, Nyahururu, and Makueni counties are concerned. We take a look at the areas, and this is Kiambu. It's a mostly cloudy day in Kiambu County, 13 degrees this morning, highs of 23 degrees. It's a cloudy day in Voi, 19 degrees this morning, highs of 28 degrees. It's a mostly cloudy day in Nairobi, 13 degrees this morning, highs of 24 degrees. And that's the state of the weather.
I know you say Nairobi is 13 degrees currently. It feels like 8.
That's it.
Leo
sasa unasikia baridi.
Leo kuna baridi.
Jana huko
jana sikuwa nasikia baridi.
Leo mimi sisikii baridi.
It's a cold morning in Nairobi. Yeah.
It is. And Nyahururu 9 degrees.
Nyahururu. And you see, Nyahururu is very close to Kalou.
Yeah.
Yes. That area is something else.
All right, let's take a look at the quote of the day.
Always do your best. What you plant now, you will harvest later.
right? Always do your best. In whatever it is, always do your best. Turejelee tuangazie magazeti wanazungumzia nini? We start off with the Standard this morning, and the headline on the front page of the Standard, 2 words, the irony. Yeah, and then they say these are jokers. They say Kenya's finest officers to tame, they sent Kenya's finest officers to tame Haiti's gangs. Yet back home, murders are rising, civilians live in fear, and the president's own security has become a subject of ridicule. Meanwhile, Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen plays politics. PS Raymond Omolo's name surfaces whenever goons are discussed, and Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja presides over confusion. This is no longer a ministry Kenyans can trust to keep them safe. Instead, it has become a symbol of incompetence and national embarrassment, where political ambition is better protected than lives and property. There are the images on the front page of Douglas Kanja, the IG of Police, the PS for Interior, Raymond Omolo, and the CS in charge of Interior, Kipchumba Murkomen. So this is a description, the irony, that these are the guys given the biggest job to protect Kenyans' lives and property. Yeah? One of them is busy politicking, the other one is just being named where goons are, and the other one is just confused. Sio mimi nimesema, say on the front page of the Standard. Yeah? Yeah? But to be honest, 2 days to the next by-election, the level of violence, then the CS has just been saying is going to arrest Gachagua. So we are wondering, okay, is that the priority right now? Goons are everywhere. Yeah? People are being attacked left, right, center. Alafu kazi yako nasema you'll arrest Gachagua. Hiyo itasaidia nani wapi? Yeah? And if at all, yes, if at all you feel that he's a source of insecurity, then why don't you go ahead and arrest him? Mara moja iishe. Yeah? But how do you explain the rising levels of insecurity? Yeah? When you're in charge. Yeah. Mara unasema polisi hawako, they can't be everywhere. Well, I don't know. Do you feel this is a bit unfair to them?
To
these three gentlemen?
Hakuna bwana.
According to the Standard.
Wamke wafanye kazi.
Wafanye kazi.
Wamelala. All right, let's see. Inside pages of the Standard today, we don't have a physical copy, but on page 3, they say your bread, biscuits could contain harmful fats, according to health experts. So they're saying that health officials tightened rules on industrial trans fats found in most processed foods amid a rise in premature heart disease. Ministry of Health is reviewing food regulations to remove industrial trans fats from food supply. Kama unapenda mkate na biskuti, now you're being told it could contain harmful fats. They say that 2 grams is the maximum limit of industrially produced trans fats per 100 grams of total fat in all foods sold in Kenya. Sasa hiyo information inafaa kuwa inakusaidia. That story, security officials under scrutiny as goons run riot, terrorize citizens. You remember that Chaiwali incident? There was another incident in Ruaka at a salon.
The same thing. People with guns walk in.
Can you imagine?
At a salon.
At a salon.
Really? Now what are they going to steal there? Phones.
And he took, it was just one guy, and he actually targeted one lady, akaingia na akachukua that phone.
Well,
yeah.
That's
Goonism in this country, we are doing very badly.
Wave of armed robberies expose gaps in crime detection and prevention, because there are 2 sides to this. There's one, there's electoral violence, which we are witnessing in Kalou and even in Kisumu, Keumbu, where rival teams attack each other using goons. But then there's a rise in crime, armed robberies, where people with guns just come to your home or to your business premises and they rob you at gunpoint. Yeah. So these 3 gentlemen wameambiwa kazi kwenyu. CS Murkomen, PS Omolo, Douglas Kanja, the IG of Police.
All right. Tuangalie gazeti la The Daily Nation. It steers clear of this conversation around, the 3 top cops. Tuangalie sasa Daily Nation inasema vipi. There was a poll yesterday that was released. It says no clear winner. Opinion poll, that is Infotrak. There will be no outright winner if a presidential election were held today. A runoff vote is likely, a new poll shows.
A runoff. Because no one is able to get 50% plus one.
Yeah.
President William Ruto is still leading, but at 32%. Yeah.
Lakini ame-lead sana. Unafuata aje na
But
13?
he won the election last time. So actually, he won with over 50%. Yeah?
Yeah.
So actually, his approval rating has dropped. If at all now, he's at 32%.
Na hao wengine wapandi at all.
Hao wengine unajua, they've never run. Some of them are first-timers. Someone like Sifuna, has he declared he's running for president? Kalonzo, at least we know, he has that interest. Fred Matiang'i too, he has that interest. Gachagua, okay, Babu Owino, has he said he wants to run for president?
Yes, sasa namwekelea.
Maraga at least has said, and Martha Karua as well. But the interesting one there, I think, is Edwin Sifuna at 12%. This is a newcomer. Yeah. He wasn't there. Yeah. The rest have been there. The rest have been doing quite a lot on the political front. So.
All right. They say none of the potential presidential candidates, including President Ruto, would garner more than half of all the votes. A disjointed opposition would trail Ruto, but a united force poses a serious challenge to his 2027 re-election bid. So they say if the united opposition are united, yeah, they can really trail President William Ruto. But are they really united?
If you combine Kalonzo, Sifuna, Matiang'i, Maraga, and Gachagua, Martha Karua, if at all this is what you can go by, then if they're united, they could actually pose a serious threat.
That's right. No opposition leader has a commanding lead over colleagues, but Kalonzo is a favorite as his joint ticket with Edwin Sifuna. So yeah, this is an opinion poll by Infotrak. Everything you need to know about the story is on page 4. On the top strip, university to pay students for missing marks. Oh wow, Court of Appeal finds Court of Appeal finds Technical University of Kenya violated the constitutional right of 21 students over missing scripts. Okay, that is very close news to me.
Technical University walipeleka script work.
That is very close news. All Kalou seat campaigns end as court suspends MPs 1.5 million shillings fine. This is the Kipiripiri MP. Yule ambaye IBC ili order a pay 1.5 million. Sasa court ime suspend that order. A win for her, I guess.
Temporarily though, they could still go back. There's a very interesting story on page 2 of the Daily Nation. There's an ex-inmate who has returned to thank the magistrate who jailed him.
Okay.
Ule mwenye alikufunga unarudi kumwambia asante sana kwa kunipeleka jela. He says rehabilitation and education transformed him. So he's actually happy about it. A prison sentence became turning point after a former convict completed his KCSE in jail. So probably angekaa nje angeweza kumaliza KCSE.
Angekuwa gaidi ama?
Angekuwa gaidi. Angekuwa goon. Then someone else says, I nearly lost my marriage. This is Julius Kamau, and the cost of activism. Yeah. Father of 2 says the use of goons to infiltrate demos has made activism dangerous. Very interesting story there.
All right. Gangs continue to attack motorists on the Nairobi-Mombasa highway. That's another story on page 7. So we are talking about gangs everywhere in this country, every corner of this country. Kutoka Kisumu, Nyahururu, Nairobi, Mombasa.
But it said that sometimes when you see the rise in violent crime, or even petty theft, it says watu hawana pesa.
Yeah. People
don't have money, so they resort to crime to earn a living. Well, it can never be justified.
Yeah.
Tafuta kazi.
There's a story on page 8. Parents' last memories of son killed in church attack. So this is one of the gentlemen. He was approached to go perform, a private security operation in Sundays. Edwin Sifuna and James Orengo's church huko kwenye walikuwa. You see, you saw those people were holding machetes and those nanios. Yeah. He was killed hapo.
It's unfortunate.
That's the day. Okay.
And on the back page, yeah, matters World Cup. You know, now we are getting closer and closer towards the end. France facing Spain today. That's one way. It's Europe either way. So France put past behind them as history beckons against Spain. Le Bleu looking to become the first nation since Brazil in 2002 to appear in 3 consecutive finals. Yes, so they take on Spain tonight at 10 p.m. Meanwhile, Argentina will be playing England tomorrow in the second semi-final. So inaendelea kukua tamu sasa. Yeah.
All right, that's the Daily Nation. Nimeona kesi ya Cohen inaendelea hapa. The Cohen's wife at ex-DCI boss oversaw retrieval of Cohen's body. That is a story on page 12. Very interesting.
Well, let's take a look at the Star. Fresh, independent, different. Today, kwanza being a Tuesday. It's not for sale. Wanaozungumzia maswala ya kahawa kwenye front page ya The Star. Iko wapi nimeiona hapa. Coffee revamp lifts 700,000 farmers' lives. There's a revolving fund that has enabled timely payment of berries and deliveries. They break down the number of counties that are growing coffee, currently 35. I didn't know that. Did you know? You know some counties, you'd be shocked to learn that there's a lot of coffee. Places like Kakamega, there's coffee. Yeah. Watu wanafikiria coffee iko tu maybe Kiambu na maeneo mengine. Kakamega, they do a lot of coffee. 100 coffee factories rehabilitated by government, according to this report. 42.4 tons of coffee sold in the last season, 2025-2026. So there's a breakdown of how the coffee industry is performing, and according to this report, it has helped over 700,000 farmers. The other highlights on the front page of this paper, Sifuna na Tembea shake up Ruto's Western game plan. Western imekuwa shida sana. Elusive Luya unit. Going and alarm as forests disappear. Unajua tulirudi kwa logging. You know, there used to be a ban on logging. Ikatolewa. Sasa you can cut off forests. Zinapotea tena. All right. Na pale juu, households stare at expensive diapers, phones and gas cylinders. Watu siwaende tu nini, Olkalao kuna gas cylinders mingi sana huko watu wanapewa. And yes, because it's a Tuesday, this paper is not for sale and comes with a complimentary MyGov pullout for government jobs and tenders. Grab yourself of this copy for free.
Kutoka Nairobi hadi Olkalou ni how much? Aende gas arudi na Nairobi.
Sindio.
How much is that?
Okay. Fika hapo, it's about 2-3. No, kama kufika Naivasha is 350. So it's like 500 bob. Kwenda Olkalou.
Gas is expensive than that?
Ile hesabu unafanya.
Tuangalie
Olkalou uchukue gas urudi hapa.
Urudi na Nairobi utumie. Haya, Taifa Leo, Sifuna amfunika Matiang'i kulingana na utafiti. Seneta Sifuna amempiku Matiang'i kwa umaarufu kama mgombea mwenza wa Kalonzo kwenye tiketi ya urais ya upinzani katika kura ya maoni iliyofanywa na shirika la Infotrak. Hata hivyo, Rais Ruto anaongoza kwa umaarufu miongoni mwa wawaniaji wa urais katika uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka 2027. Wakenya wengi waliohojiwa na Infotrak wapendezwa na tiketi ya Kalonzo na Sifuna kuliko ya Kalonzo na Matiang'i. Yeah. That is a story on page 2. Vidokezo zaidi, kazi sasa kwa wapiga kura Olkalou. Kampeni za kamilika na kupisha uchaguzi mdogo Alhamisi, macho yakiwa hasa kwa DCP na UDA. Janda ageuza kibao kuhusu uhuni Kiumbu, adai wafuasi walinda mwananchi waliwachokoza wakazi wa eneo hilo, ndipo vurumai zikazuka. Again, blame games.
You know what I had a story about Kiumbu that after that attack, now people were not happy. And because Kiumbu town is a town where the road passes, and it's like a market. So when the matatus pass, they stop so that people can buy bananas and stuff like that. Atilifika mahali watu wa matatu wakasema tusimami. Nyinyi Kiumbu kaeni na vitu zenu. Nyinyi mnapiga watu.
Kabisa. Even passengers were not buying those bananas.
Yes, they were not buying. Wali boycott.
Even ndivyo inafaa. UDA yazidia ODM kwa umaarufu. Utafiti wa Infotrak kwa kipa chama cha rais 22% kwa umaarufu, huku ODM ikifuata kwa 21%. DCP ni 9%. Yeah. So UDA is leading at 22%, ODM 21%, and then DCP 9%. And that gap between ODM and DCP, That's a huge gap. Kule juu, bei ya mafuta yaanza kupaa kwa vita Iran. Amerika na Tehran zimeanza kupigana tena baada ya mazungumzo ya mwafaka kufeli. Na pia masuala ya World Cup imezungumziwa hapo juu. France na Spain, mtu ataumia leo. Taifa leo.
People Daily has exactly what we're talking about. Matters security, especially chaos around elections. So they say President Ruto, end the goon violence now. Now this is not just about crime. There is a goonism, especially in politics. And they've used that photo from Kisumu. Ya wale watu wanatembea tu. And you could see police were there with them. Now you're wondering, okay, what exactly are you showing us? As head of state and government, who took oath of office to protect Kenyans' lives and property, the buck stops with you. So the People Daily has just decided to address the president directly and tell him whatever is happening, it's your job to stop it. Yes. Kama utaambia Murkomen ama utaambia, because no one has been fired so far. Not even a single security officer or high-ranking government official has been shown the door. Meanwhile, there's crime, there's political chaos, and we are moving very close to the next election. What exactly are we doing? Descent into chaos. Should this be what we will be expecting come 2027? That story is extensively covered on page 4. It's more like an editorial, just calling on the president to do something. Other highlights on the front page of this paper: why Kenya still struggles to elect women governors. Yes. So far we have how many? 6. 6 women governors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kuna moja tuli impeach.
Yeah.
The aging workforce crisis staring down at Kenya is another story on page 8 of the People Daily. It has very interesting stories there, but I think the main one is on this descent to chaos, especially electoral chaos, and the worry about what will happen in 2027. And they say, Mr. President, kazi kwako. That's the People Daily.
Do you think Kenyans are struggling to elect women governors?
How
Do
successful?
you agree?
I don't know. It's a good question, though, because this time we elected the highest number of female governors. Yeah. But have they really performed that well?
Yeah. You know, why I giggled is because yesterday I saw an argument on X. Somebody told huyo mtu alikuwa na argue that I don't expect anything from someone in a county led by women.
Oh, really? That's a bit unfair.
Well, that was a very odd thing to say. And it stuck in my mind.
I think probably someone should do a poll on how these governors are performed in their respective counties, female governors, so that we see in comparison, if at all you succeeded a governor and your performance. Some of them have been governors for 2 terms.
Waguru?
Yeah.
And?
Anne Waiguru, I think. And it's just Anne Waiguru.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the rest are first-timers.
Sawa, tuangalie Business Daily. Haraka KRA and SportPesa fight over seizure of 1 billion shillings in telcos. Taxman eyes cash in bank accounts and pay bills. And tax tribunal stops seizure pending end of suit. That story is on page 2. 7 insurance firms face IRA fines for reporting breaches. IRA is the Insurance Regulatory Authority. That's another story on page 2. On the ticker, Direct Line reclaims top spots in Matatu insurance market. And BOC's share price doubles after buyout offer withdrawal. That's another story on page 6. And that's the Business Daily.
All right. We cross the border into Uganda. And we still have the New Vision. Daily Monitor bado wamefungiwa. So the main story on the New Vision, the front page, is government to merge 8 more agencies. Affected staff benefits listed, finance given September deadline. So that's a process more like what we saw in Kenya, where some agencies inasemekana zimekuwa mingi. Wa merge. Kenya bado hatujamanage hiyo lakini. Anyway, then we cross to Tanzania. On the front page of the Citizen, the main story is about gold boom, masking mineral diversification challenge. And you know, I think Tanzania is very blessed when it comes to minerals. They have gold, they have tanzanite, they have diamond. Not the artist, they have real diamonds. Kenya hatuna, so that's the main story on the front page pale. Samia defending Tanzania's human rights record. Alisema tupigwe mikwaju huku na huko.
Yes.
Lakini Samia ana defend human rights record ya Tanzania. Ndio hiyo habari kuu kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti la Mwananchi. Samia asema tunalinda haki za binadamu. Je, unakubaliana naye?
No,
wanalinda haki ya binadamu? Asisitiza Tanzania ina historia na misingi imara, agusia mabadiliko ya siasa za dunia na sumu wanayojazwa vijana. Bado anaamini vijana wamejazwa sumu. Na alisema vijana wamekosa nidhamu na vijana wa Kenya watandikwe huku na wakienda kwa wapigwe mijeledi tena. Kwa sababu hao wanalinda haki za binadamu. Afuata nyayo za Mkapa, Kikwete na John Pombe Magufuli. All right, so those are the main stories. Not just in Kenya, but the region as well. Some of the big talking points, especially around security issues in Kenya, given prominence. Let's take a look at the cartoons tuone kama wanazungumzia yale. And the cartoon, the first one I start with is the Daily Nation. The cartoon on the Daily Nation has a caricature of that CS for security. Amepanda gari ya polisi Murkomen na anatumia ile binoculars. Anasema we'll monitor your activities every minute. Lakini meanwhile, the police cannot be everywhere. Goons are everywhere. They're running amok. The excuse is that, okay, fine, ndio, we know they're goons, but police cannot be everywhere. Lakini wana monitor nani ule waliambia watamshika. We'll monitor your activities every minute, but you can't be everywhere. The irony. By the way, ni kama tu your standard. This is the Daily Nation now, the cartoon. Inaendana tu na ya standard.
At least they're agreeing on that. Sawa, tuangalie the one on the Standard. This is, see you in Morocco. Check me out in Morocco. That is the Genius Starlets 2026 FIFA Under-17 World Cup. Walishinda, this is South Africa, South Africa's team. And I'm trying to find it because we covered that yesterday as well. There's a newspaper that covered it very, very, very nicely on the front page yesterday. So I went for Junior Starlets. See you in Morocco.
All right. Then we go straight to Kalou. Na kuna ule jamaa ule wa mlima huko juu ya mlima na ballot box. Alafu anasema must win. Meanwhile, the other people pale chini, a caricature of the deputy president, the president, Martha Karua, yani leaders from Mount Kenya. Everyone who's angling for Mount Kenya, kila mtu anasema a must win. So this one is a must win for everyone.
Kila mtu lazima ashinde.
Kila mtu lazima ashinde.
All right, finally tuko na People Daily. Yes, huyo jamaa wa interior bado. Na he's making it.
He's made it finally. For all the wrong reasons. He's all over the papers, even the cartoons.
No one is above the law. That is what this caricature is saying, that anasema. Lakini Goons ni kama wako above the law.
But he's, I think he's just talking tough. Every day he's talking tough, but doing nothing. Yes. No one is above the law. Yet Goons are running amok. And you're doing nothing about it. Well, all the papers are calling out the leadership of this country, especially those in charge of security. CS Murkomen being in front up on, with his PS, the head of police, that's the Inspector General, and of course the president, who is in charge and is the one who appoints all these people. So who will take charge? That's a big question today, and we'll be looking at that with my panelists later on. Let me introduce panelists wangu sahi. Yes, today we'll be having MP Embakasi North, James Gakuya, Joe Mutambu, former MP Mwingi Central, and Joshua Kipto, advocate of the High Court, for that discussion. Do stand by for that. Later on, tutakuwa tunazungumzia masuala ya World Youth Skills Day.
That's right. That day is tomorrow. We're starting that conversation today.
Okay. So a lot in store for you, and we'll be telling you more about it. But before we take a break, let's take a look at the traffic situation in and around Nairobi today. All right, so major roads in Nairobi. This is a traffic situation, how it's looking. Not so bad on Thika Road today. A bit of traffic at Githurai. Yes, I think there's an incident on that road according to this Google Maps somewhere, just before you get to Kasarani. After that, it's smooth all the way until you get to Pangani. And this time round, Pangani interchange, it extends deep into Murang'a Road. So if at all you're coming into town using that side, do expect some traffic there. Jogoo Road getting busy at this time of day at Makadara, and at Shauri Moyo just before you get to the City Stadium roundabout. The other side of town, Hini Eastern Bypass, quite busy. I think this is the busiest road we have all the way, that entire stretch, ya Utawala, it's very busy. And even as you get closer to the airport, it gets even busier. A bit of traffic on Outer Ring Road, especially further and Pipeline, as matatus carry passengers to town. Mombasa Road, the slow traffic heading away from town just after that interchange ya kuingia airport. But heading towards town, it's smooth. Nothing to report there. Ngong Road is actually smooth this morning. Nothing bad there. And Waiyaki Way as well, all the way into town. So the biggest problem is the Eastern Bypass, na Thika Road hapa na pale kidogo kidogo. That's the traffic this morning. All right, so interact with us throughout this show. TV47 Digital on X, that's a handle to use. On Facebook, it's TV47 Kenya. It's also TV47 Kenya on Instagram, as well as on YouTube, where we are streaming live.
Tagas, my handle is at Annie_Dida.
Mine is at Fred Indimuli.
Is the hashtag TV47 Breakfast, hashtag Story Nieto, and I'll see you after the break.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza hii simu yako.
Hamna pesa. I need 3 G's to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimewekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Nikikunyuma.
Oh my God. He left me.
Nitumie ni live. Uko nje kuna wifi.
Why? High five?
Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea.
The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero make a beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already.
We won't entertain divas.
No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
My father used to tell me that our hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. Booyah! We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time, and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in East and Central Africa and its environs.
Saturday at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m.
This is a very serious place.
I see that. Surely. Hey, Nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat.
It's a chair. It was hers.
You're new here?
Yes.
You learned the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system. Ni venye tu ni system haisikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
I remove it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning? To escape from a resort?
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47.
Nairobi, where the hustle never sleeps and neither do the scammers.
Link Up, we are talking about something that's affecting all of us. We are talking trust.
We're diving into the campus life.
Stay fresh, stay safe.
Stay linked up.
My father used to tell me that our hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. Booyah! We might fail. We will probably fail, but not for a lack of trying. So for the last time, and the first time, welcome to Connect In, the best experience in Eastern Central Africa and its environs.
This is a very serious place.
I see that.
Surely. Hey, Nyumba.
This is the place.
Just for a few days.
Rule number 2.
Kwani Google inajua maisha yangu wewe?
That's my seat.
It's a chair. It was hers.
You're new here?
Yes.
You learned the rhythm.
This place is run by structure. Structure.
It is a system, ni venye tu ni system isikizi.
And what happens if something you haven't chosen enters your day?
I remove it.
That's not always going to be possible here.
Then you are going to have a problem.
Noted.
What are you planning? To escape from a resort?
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
Na leo mko rada yangu.
Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior.
I only have big notes.
Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yaani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona kiki ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo inaitwa commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Mpatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako?
Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho ya kesho ya tomorrow.
Your turn.
Mzee ni budi nikae mchoka.
Ni budi ni madeni.
Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m.
You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
Na leo mko rada yangu.
Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior.
I only have big notes.
Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yaani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona kiki ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo inaitwa commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Mpatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako?
Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho ya kesho ya tomorrow.
Your turn.
Mzee ni budi nikae mchoka.
Ni budi ni madeni.
Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV 47. Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
All right, good morning. Once again, this is TV 47 Breakfast. My name is Freddie Ndimuli. It's that time when you take a look at the big headlines. One of the big ones today is this opinion poll by Infotrak, and it's the main story on the front page of the Daily Nation under the headline, No Clear Winner. So there would be no outright winner if a presidential election were held today. A runoff vote is likely. This is according to this new poll. None of the potential presidential candidates, including President Ruto, would garner more than half of all the votes. A disjointed opposition would trail Ruto, but a united force poses a serious challenge to his 2027 re-election bid. No opposition leader has a commanding lead over colleagues, but Kalonzo is a favorite, as is his joint ticket with Sifuna. So a lot of suggestions here. And this is where we want to start our discussion this morning with Wakili Joshua Kipto. Karibu sana Wakili, it's good to have you in studio. James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North, is also with us this morning. Karibu sana and good morning.
Thank you.
And Joe Mutambo, former MP Mwingi Central, is also here with us. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Yes. So where does this leave us? I know opinions are usually varied when it comes to opinion polls. Of course, if it doesn't favor you, you dismiss it and say opinion polls are doctored. But at least this one seems to give us very many suggestions. One, and I think that President William Ruto's approval rating after winning the election in 2022 has dropped to 32%. But I think it gets more interesting looking at his main challengers for the same seat. Wakili, how do you see this panning out?
So thank you very much. I'm not seeing much surprises. That has always been our trend since 2007. 2002 it wasn't clear, but 2007 onwards, this has always been the trend, in the sense that you have the incumbent president with his core constituency, and most of the time the incumbent president is always ahead. And then you have the pretenders to the throne in form of the different individual opposition members. And Kalonzo, though, is not matching up what Raila Odinga has always been, because Raila Odinga seemed to always command at 35 to 45% before election fever kicks in. And once election kicks in, he would then amalgamate into that 50% that he would always get. So what I'm saying here is no surprises. The only maybe difference would be, I think the biggest new kid on the block is Edwin Sifuna, because it puts him in the conversation. Now that must be a key pointer. Number two, I also see that the president has improved. Why am I saying so? If you go back to between 24, 25, Gen Z protest, post-Gen Z protest, the president had his opinion ratings going down. So you are seeing an upward trajectory of 32%, which means if it is to be believed, then it means he has an 18% gap to be able to cover, if you are to use these figures. However, the difference then comes in, you've seen the number of candidates on the table spread out, and for varied reasons. For example, if all factors are held constant, you don't expect, for example, that the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua would be standing, so that's a vote hanging. And then you also have the others below that are basically names. How they'll amalgamate, then that comes into question. Importantly, the contest then would be between Matiang'i and Sifuna. Where is their placing in terms of who's likely? Because if you are to use this, then you would say it, more or less the safe bet for their presidential candidate for the opposition would be Musyoka. But then where do you place the running mate? And Matiang'i and Sifuna occupy same spot in terms from western side. You have eastern-western card. The president is already set. He comes from the western side, that is the rift, and the Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki comes from the eastern. So I would expect the opposition to do the opposite. And that's where then it becomes murky. If you've looked at the last 3-4 days or the last 1 week, the conversation about a flag bearer is gaining steam. JB Muturi seems to have already made his mind that he's backing Kalonzo, and he's pushing the opposition towards that direction. That I don't think is clear. You still have a Munyoro 45-day respite, which would mean he's buying time. Specifically, I suspect tomorrow is very critical for DCP. If they lose, woe unto him, because it would mean his bargaining chip goes down. If they win in
Olkalau.
In fact, I mentioned that Olkalau will be the single most important pointer between the fight between UDA and DCP within Central Kenya. So if Omunyoro wins, then it means he'll have some bullish sense of confidence to push then and say, I can now sit on the table and bargain for this. So what I'm saying is a case of the opposition getting into a very difficult position of negotiating for a flag bearer together with a running mate. I saw Sifuna mentioning 2-3 days ago that he does not want personalization of this movement in the opposition, because he was told by Omnyoro not to show up in Olkalau, something like that. So what I'm seeing is that then the president is waiting in the wings. Yes. The president has only one agenda. Let it play out. Let the opposition fight it out. Anyone who feels disjointed, and as he did in 2022, he only harvested anyone who was affiliated with the Azimio lineup, because Azimio ended up giving positions to the point of cabinet ministers, and that's when he picked them. So here, I'm seeing a case where the president would be clearly seeing where he is, and at the same time waiting for any fallout that will come out from the opposition.
And we're talking about that fallout because yesterday we heard the president speaking somewhere and talking about the possibility of working with Kalonzo Musyoka. Also CS Ruku talked about the same. Gakuya, when it comes to this debate about picking a flag bearer, I think that's where the bone of contention is. Sifuna is not really so far deep in the United Alternative Government, but the assumption is that he's there. Does he complicate the matter for the United Opposition? The fact that everyone is talking about Sifuna now.
Thank you, Idimori. Allow me to salute viewers wherever they are watching this morning show from. And coming to the matter Sifuna and complication in the United Opposition, my answer is no complication. Let us all agree that Sifuna is a factor by himself. And in any particular exercise of an election, it is a game of numbers. Sifuna, nobody can stand here and wash out that he has no commanding behind him. Despite that there is a split between the solid ODM, it also tells you that between the bases that were there before enjoyed by the late Raila Odinga, most of those bases are inherited by Sifuna, and including Nyanza itself. Nobody can rule out that Sifuna is not going to gang through to gather numbers in Nyanza province as it is. So in this case, I would like to say Sifuna will be able to at least to command some numbers in Western Nyanza and even Coast and even Nairobi. And in this case, he's a candidate who you can't wish away. And in terms of negotiation, he has a base to negotiate. And the formula that must arise, in any case, it's a formula to win an election. And that's why I always keep saying that for a victory, there has to be a lot of sacrifices. If it comes that even including Matiang'i, maybe even my boss in Central Region, to sacrifice for Carozo to take the mantle, it will be wise for them. I would wish to tell them that they also need to look for factors that will make them sail through. And they better put maybe a caveat where they can agree that they have what we call a transitional president who can serve one term like Mandela. And they agree for a coalition of one term.
So you agree that that is a problem, just having all these leaders together?
Let me tell you, this is power, and power is interest. And let me tell you, no single party which is here because of anything else. They are here because they want to at least salvage and rescue the nation. But the interests in politics are still there. And therefore, issue to do with what shall I take home, what shall I take home, is there. And that's why there has to be a negotiation. And whoever will not take the big fish has something. And that's what we are saying. Because the beauty of this particular fraternity of United Opposition, they are not in power. So the whole fish is there. So they are part to share. What I would like to say is that let them not be greedy in terms of conditions to what you are going to take home. They take the victory first. And if they take the victory first, then they can share whatever else on a peaceful manner. But I can tell you, these gentlemen, if they are for salvaging this country where it is, they must sacrifice themselves. Right. We know all of them have capacity, but that capacity does not mean they can sit on a chair, all of them. There has to be one of them at the tail end.
Bwana Mutambu, the president looking at this can see where the threat could be. That a united opposition will definitely be a problem for him come 2027. But he has the opportunity to look and pinpoint a few people that he can pull to his side. Even you've had those suggestions that Kalonzo Musyoka should be probably working with the president. Do you agree that that should be the game plan for William Ruto?
No. Looking at this, I don't see any threat for president.
Even a combined ticket of these opposition figures?
Loyalty is not transferable. That's what you need to understand. You don't transfer loyalty to another person. And if any person tells you, I'll give you my supporters, they are lying. The supporters make their own decision. If today Kakuya says, I'm not going to vie for Nairobi seat, and then he tells me, I'll give you my support, I'll give you my voters, he's lying to me. He will come to me, yes, and I will welcome him. I love him. I will love what he has done. But the people whom he commands, most of them 100%, they will not be 100%. He can bring 50%, 30% max. I mean max 50%. Where will the 50% go? It will be hanging out there. So when you look at this matrix, if I were to combine two giants together, and I see their numbers beating Ruto, then I would say, okay. But you will have to go to either 3 or 4. And transferring that loyalty for 4 or 5 people to one is next to impossible. I mean, voters we know them. We know voters very well, and we know how they behave. And when this happens, let me tell you.
So we're saying probably Mount Kenya would not vote for Kalonzo if Gachagua is not on the ticket? Is that what you're saying?
Not 100%. Not, and Kagwe will tell you, there will be disgruntled ones. And the scraps will be more than what we are seeing here. There will be people who will say, okay, our man is not there, so what is the purpose of me voting? I was there because of Kakuya. And if Kakuya is not voting, then I will not also vote. If he's not vying or he's not on the ballot, I will also not be there. I will sleep. There are so many people who will not actually go to election or will go to vote because their preferred candidate has not been nominated. And it is not only one. We cannot talk of the people of Mount Kenya. I can tell you, Sifuna has a constituency. And if he is not the one, that constituency, we don't expect it 100% to whoever will be nominated. Likewise, Matiang'i. He has his constituency. He has his followers. And I can tell you from here, it is not 100% of Matiang'i's supporters who will follow the decision of the opposition. They will, even Kakuya here, he may not even vote, but for him, because he has some senses of leadership, he would say, okay, fine, with a lot of humility, I'm going to vote for that. But there are so many people who will not say with a lot of humility. They will say, I'm not happy. My man is not there. And that will happen.
And that's the issue, Akili, because we've seen this
before you go to Akili, allow me to interject and ask Mutambo, is it now that he can confidently tell Kenyans that if you are a Christian, that you have to decamp and move to the unbelievers because the bishop has been transferred and or the bishop has resigned? I would tell my good friend that the ground is between 2 term and 1 term, and where the ground is 1 term, there's no way you are going to change. And let me tell you, Kenyans are only waiting for a white smoke at the end of the day. They are, in fact, listen to them. They are saying, you guys unite, give us one candidate. And let me tell you, there is no miracle where William Ruto is going to secure 18 digits. I'm telling you, it's going to be next to impossible.
Don't you think that the problem is more on the opposition side? Okay.
Listen. I think one thing to try draw Gakuya into, one of the findings of this Infotrak is that one place that has been captured to be completely undecided is Mount Kenya. Not a single candidate gets more than 20%. Now that should tell him something, that Mount Kenya is still a battleground. Mount Kenya is not completely gone. Number two, in fact, another pointer that should even worry DCP more is the kind of competition UDA is giving DCP in Kalou. The expectation was it will be a whitewash. It is not a whitewash. They are shaking in their boots because tomorrow will confirm and the figures will have something to tell. Any tight contest between UDA and DCP confirms that UDA can work to convert the 40%, which would be beyond expectation if they're able to get that in terms of in a presidential election. And that's why my concern would be, I would want to agree and disagree with Mutambu in one way. I will disagree with him that transferability can't happen. It can happen. Transferability happens across the divide. There are those that will lean towards an opposition ticket, joint ticket. Others, as, if there's a disagreement, they will always lean towards government. So what it does then, it now strengthens into two blocks. And we've seen this happening over and over again. If you've always seen opinion polls run up to the election a year or two, which is the best time they always start doing it, for 2007, 2013, 2017, and 2022, there was always this aspect of the opposition having bits and pieces. 22 was the only different one because we were not having an incumbent. And Raila always polled between, at the minimum, would always get 20-something, but go as high as 34, 35. And the moment then they would pair with Kalonzo and the rest, then it shoots up to 43, to 44, and the president would also be hovering around, which means there's always a significant 15, 20% undecided. and you know, politics is emotional. There's a way things cascade. Let me take you back. In 2022, when it was almost a foregone conclusion that the favorite is Raila Odinga, and when William Ruto picked Rigathi Gachagua as a running mate, the expectation was that it would not amount to much. But the performance of Rigathi Gachagua in a vice presidential or in the deputy presidential debate tilted the scale in the sense that now there was now certainty that there is a joint ticket that has strength, especially within Mount Kenya, and that made a difference. So I see an opportunity whereby covering the 18% for the president is not a problem. That can be achieved. As I've said, there seemed to be a market improvement from the...
Without deeping into or pulling any of these people to his side, he can still achieve that 18%?
He will achieve, because that's why I'm saying I'm agreeing and disagreeing with Mutambu. Disagreeing in the sense that there can always be transferability, but agreeing with him that some aspects may not move. Let me give an example. I've seen there are some ODM regions that are still seen to be dragging their feet towards the president, and he seems to he's closing it on it. Let me give two specific areas. Look at the coast. It has been captured to be warming towards the president, but has not crystallized. The president has succeeded to completely galvanize the entire ODM brigade in the coast. The same applies to the Maasai lands. So once those ones come together, once those ones move together, because the opposition will struggle to have leading lights from the coast region. So that would mean it easily galvanizes. You go to the Mount Kenya region, the most undecided, then that will be determined. And that's why, for me, I keep an eye on tomorrow's results. Because tomorrow's results...
Thursday's results.
The moment we have a two-horse race between DCP and UDA, as is playing out now, then that it means then the president will make a case for Mount Kenya. Lastly, you've seen the overwhelming support the presidential ticket has in terms of Professor Kithure Kindiki remaining a running mate. Then that gives you a possibility of the president continuing to gain traction, and it will come from the east coming westwards. Mount Kenya has a penchant of always voting as a block, not a divided block. That's a plus in the sense this way. Based on the kind of reception the president has been receiving in Meru as you come to Tharaka Nithi, that can be an entry point to recover even what seems to be slipping away in the western side of Mount Kenya. So I see it as an opportunity. I'm not even it's just a pointer. Each of the candidates, I think the lessons for this opinion poll is two-way. The president knows what to cover. The president knows the people he has to take keen interest on. In fact, for me, the most interesting place is Western. So Western is now increasingly becoming the fight. And that's why you see Wetangula is fighting for his dear life. Okay. I don't know where that one leaves Mudavadi. Because that is still the question that is hanging.
Yes, the faces of those between President William Ruto and those in the United Alternative Government who ideally would be running for president. Some of them have not even indicated their interest in it, like Babu Owino. I don't know where that came from. I think he's looking elsewhere. But quite a number have expressed the interest. Edwin Sifuna, not really expressed interest, but according to this poll, he's a firm favorite to be a running mate to Kalonzo Musyoka, according to this opinion poll by Infotrak. And it would appear that this somewhat suggests that Kalonzo Musyoka would be the best pick for presidential candidate for the opposition. You can read more on this. They even suggest which combination between Musyoka and the other opposition luminaries would be best bet for them. A very interesting discussion.
Before you close over,
yes, because I want us to take a break very briefly.
Let me just add a line and say, the expectation of Kalou is highly accepted from all corners of this republic, including internationally. And what is the biggest test here is the credibility and capacity of EBC. EBC, in this particular election, they must make sure that the exercise is free, fair, and verifiable. And the elements that we got in belly of intruders who are CSs in this country, and they are untouchable, that they did nothing against that. It is an area where we shall condemn in the highest order that we need Kalou uninterrupted. Leave Kalou people to vote democratically. And that will give us a result where anybody who feels that he will gauge the election of Kalou in which way is by the outcome that the IBC will give us.
Yes, and Kalou is definitely something that we'll have to come back and discuss. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we take a look at matters security or insecurity before we delve into the Kalou by-election. You're watching TV47 Breakfast.
Jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent na uza simu yako. Hamna pesa.
I need 3 G's to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimewekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Ikikunyuma.
Oh my God. You left me.
Nitumie ni line. Uko nje kuna wifi.
Why? Hi-Fi?
Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea.
The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero umeka kwa beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already.
Me, I won't entertain divas.
No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
My father used to tell me that a hotel is the home for travelers. I guess I forgot that. Recently, it's been more of a mirror of my own ambition. Ooh, yeah. We might...
As the clock ticks closer to the highly anticipated Kalou by-election on Thursday, the campaign period officially came to an end on Monday evening, with all the candidates required to end all activities by 6 p.m. In a statement released on Monday, July 13, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, highlighted that campaigns in the area would officially end at 6 p.m. in line with electoral laws that require campaigns to stop 48 hours before election day. IEBC says the preparations for the 16 July 2026 Kalou parliamentary by-election are in full swing as it finalizes key operational activities ahead of polling day. With the IEBC clearing 9 candidates, the race has evolved into a high-stakes political showdown between President William Ruto's UDA and the Democracy for the Citizens Party DCP, led by his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua.
Resolve is one term. and their member of parliament is none other than Sammy Douglas Kamau Waweru.
The final minutes of the race have been dominated by calls for peace, with leaders urging residents to maintain calm ahead, during and after polls. The main candidates in the race, UDA's Samuel Mushina, Sami Ngodho of DCP, and other candidates held their final rallies. The DCP candidate was accompanied by leaders allied to former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in several rallies.
And I want to tell those people that are campaigning on behalf of Kasongo here, you are very sure that you have already lost. You have invested billions trying to bribe our people. Our people have eaten all the goodies that you have given them. But at the end of the day, they have told you their resolve is one term.
We had you tell our young people that they should vote and go home. We are not going. We are not going. We are not going. We shall only leave the polling station once the last vote has been counted.
The UDA candidate Samuel Mushina also held rallies accompanied by leaders allied to the ruling party.
Kwa hii mkutano, ninajua kuna watu walikuwa wametumwa. Atiri tukimaliza mkutano, waweze kuleta fujo. Tunawatangazia, sisi ni wapenda amani.
Lakini muambuke asubuhi na mapema, by saa 4 mambo iko imeisha. Mushina, mtaamuka mapema.
Siasa ni kushindana, na kwa hivyo sisi hatuna shida na mashindano, kwa sababu tunajua tumefanya kampeni yetu na tuna imani ya kwamba tutashinda.
Jubilee Party candidate Wilson Kigwa also held his last rallies, calling for the people of Kalou to vote for him on Thursday.
Unajua Jubilee inasimamia amani. Kwa hivyo kampeni zote tumekuwa na amani. Kwanza ni kwa sababu hatuna pesa ya kupeana na watu wanapigania pesa. Kwa hivyo sisi tunaongea na wananchi na wanatupenda bila pesa yoyote.
However, the Law Society of Kenya has raised concerns over the alleged widespread electoral malpractice ahead of the Kalou by-election, warning that the reported incidents threaten the integrity of the electoral process. LSK President Charles Kanjama says that the electoral offences are criminal acts, not mere political disputes. LSK now calling on the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the Public Service Commission, National Police Service, and all relevant institutions to investigate allegations and take firm actions against any individuals found to have violated the law. LSK says that the Kalou by-election is a critical test of Kenya's commitment to free, fair and credible elections ahead of the 2027 general election. Chichi Josephine, TV 47.
Yes, in less than 48 hours, the voters in Kalou will be going to the polls. Ballots, polling stations will open at 6 a.m. on Thursday. And by end of that day, we'll be having the answer. I know right now everyone is predicting and expressing confidence like Bonagakuya here. But my question now is on the process so far and questions around the integrity of this particular by-election. We'll start with you, Bwana Mutambo. Because even the IEBC chairperson came out and said, "Mukiendelea hivi, I may be forced to postpone or to delay this election." If at all they continue on with the by-election as it is, don't you think there are already grounds for many people to actually dispute the result? Because even the IEBC says there's obvious voter bribery, the other electoral malpractices, including violence. Isn't it obvious that this is one of those that will be challenged in court?
Allow me first to correct something which my friend got wrong. When I said loyalty is not transferable, I meant not 100% transferable. Then also, Kaguya, there are things you can't compare. You can't compare day and night. Likewise, you cannot compare Christianity with the politics. For some reason, In Christianity, the followers, they give to the church, not the church giving to the followers. And in politics, let me finish my point.
It's in the same congregation of Christianity, the same who
let me finish my point. In Christianity, it is totally different. It is somebody's faith, okay, and what they believe in, and how they practice.
And in politics,
but when it comes to politics,
person.
When it comes to politics, the expectation is for the participant to be given something, not them giving. If that's something to take home, carry it with you. To your question, the credibility of election. There is no single election which has been conducted in this country and appraised by anyone. Not only in Kenya, many countries. Politics or election is like playing football. There is no referee who has been credited with good performance or anything. We always complain about the IBC. We complain about this chairman, we remove them, we bring another one. The moment there is any either by-election or any activity, we start there. So I am not expecting this to go down so smoothly that Kaguya will not say imeibwa. I'm expecting that. So it's not a shock to me. And to put some shock absorbers, you know, it is not that imeibwa because it is always imeibwa because somebody has lost. That is how it is in politics. There is nobody who goes home, even Kaguya, the day he will lose. He will not go home and tell his children that I've lost. He will say, nimeibiwa. And even if he's a gentleman enough to concede, he will concede and say, I am conceding with a heavy heart because I'm a Kenyan and we have a country to build. But he will say, something went wrong. I don't trust what happened. So these complaints are ever there in Moli. There is no election which will happen in this country and you hear them, everybody, including the losers, praising the body which was overseeing the election. So my expectation is there will be a lot of complaints. And what is happening today, it should be a case of something which we know for sure it happened and we have the evidence. And if we do so, before we even go further, if there is any Kenyan who love this country and they would want the democracy to prevail, if you have evidence, material, and the lawyer will tell you, you present them to court and have either the election nullified or you have the election stopped. But talking on either media or saying this, and you are not helping to support what you are saying, then it makes no sense. You can only say to either gain public for the PR reasons, but if someone is 100% Mutambo committed this crime before election, what stops them from taking the next step of making sure that I don't proceed doing what I'm doing, and it is wrong?
Okay. Wakili, yes, that's a challenge, that we can approach a process like this one. The IBC chairperson says there's a problem here. In fact, I may be forced to delay or postpone this election, and then we still proceed and go on with it.
So I think the issue, and I want to just dissect the two, there is the process culminating or leading into the process of voting, because elections is a process that has several components, right from the nomination of candidates, campaign period, and then the closure of campaign period, then actual voting, and then results. Almost 4 components, and each of them counts. If you look at the petitions, we've done, in my private practice, we've done election petition, and the 4 components really count. Right from nomination of the candidates, whether they were qualified or not, or whether the IBC did the right thing, during the campaign period, which is now the subject of the conversation here, whether there was a peaceful environment, whether there was an environment that could guarantee or at least give a result that can be said to be a product of free and fair process. And then you have the actual voting, which would mean residents or voters are given the chance to exercise their right Any interference to that, whether through security mishap, whether denial of a right because of a technicality, and then you have the actual counting of the results that reflect the true will of the voters. So once you have it, then you consider that a process. When you go for an election petition, all the 4 components are given a consideration. Now for this particular case, the first component has not been having any issue in terms of nomination of the candidates. None of the parties that are fielding candidates were denied a chance. But then the conversation now shifts to the process of vote seeking, and the accusation has been violence, intimidation, and importantly inducements. Those have been the 3 issues that have stood out, and you've seen IBC trying to go out of its way to pinpoint. For example, they have actually sanctioned MP, whatever, the Nakuru town MP, who was caught on microphone, says I gave out 1.2 million yesterday, and today I have even more to give today. Then I think the same was also a level against Wanjiku Muhia, who is the Kipiri MP, for utterances that were seen to be insightful and importantly threatening to the UDA side. Now that is the aspect of the vote seeking, which I think it's a question of political manners. So IBC is trying to stamp its authority on the basis of how can we ensure that we have a peaceful environment. We've had incidences of violence where each of the 2 competing parties, specifically UDA versus DCP, where there's been some elements of threats, there's been elements of violence, and in this case, IBC is trying to stamp its authority. Why is it so? As we head into the election, one of the sticking out points is the issue of Goonism. Is the issue of people now taking matter into their hands. Where is the place of security for that? But that does not significantly then affect, because if the parties can see it over the line, which happened yesterday, both parties had their final rallies. I feel IBC has tried to balance. The threat was basically to keep in check parties to stop the taking the law into their hands component. Now what then shifts is the issue of voting, which I think so far so good, judging from the last by-elections we've done, but importantly the last elections we did, and judging by the court precedences, I feel that the aspect of a free and fair vote is almost guaranteed. That moment the court ruled previously under the Minor Kiai decision that said the final vote that can be authenticated and said to be the actual vote that can be counted to be the final one, in this case is the vote at the polling station. Once the returning officer declares a vote at the returning at the polling station level, and the party agents append their signatures, and the parties confirm, and it is affixed outside the polling station, that is final. So that whatever happens at the returning officer level, at the constituency level, it's basically collating what has been declared to be final. That cannot be amended. So I feel that that has guaranteed has since 2022 more or less like a free fair result. And I'm looking at a case where tomorrow, this just being won by election, and IBC concentrating its resources there, I don't anticipate anything wrong.
Yet we've already had even people saying that they're going to stay at the polling stations until the last vote is counted. That could present a challenge as well. It's the agents that are supposed to be at the polling station. If everyone decides to stay there, would that be a free and fair election? It's a question I'm asking.
In fact, Idumori, what you must all understand is that if everybody can be assured of free, fair, and verifiable mechanisms, that means if it's a matter to do with security, it is entitled and trusted to what we call security agencies. And therefore, there has to be a collaboration between the IBC chairman and the IG to make sure that there is what we call conducive environment in every polling station. If that is guaranteed, then you should not allow intruders during the process. Because what we found in Bele is that a full CS intruded to a polling station, dominated, and everybody was thrown out, including all agents. So what was cooked there, nobody can see. And at the tail end, in case of such kind of an event, which is completely an illegality, an election illegality, what the IBC was entitled to do is to cancel the whole results of that polling station so that they can give the electorates free and fair results at the tail end. But you can't tell us a polling station had been intruded. Anything that was done there in the absence of agents, you can't be able to testify. And then you want to tell me, you want me to brief with you with the results that will be...
Isn't that what we're anticipating on Thursday? The fact that now...
What we are saying, when we are saying we will be there in the polling centers, is to wait for those kind of intruders because they will come.
But crowding a polling station, isn't that the same problem you're presenting? That your people will be there beyond the agents?
Tell me, Demuli, what do you do if you have an election who has no order? There has to be an order, and this order has to strike to everybody. It cannot be single-sided.
Wakili,
and this, let me finish.
I need this clarity from a legal perspective.
Allow me to finish. Nobody is supposed to be allowed anywhere after an election. But there should be no special guests that are entitled to be intruding to polling stations, and they are free to do so. Okay. That in this case, we must say, if there is a law, it must apply to everybody, but not piecemeal.
Okay.
I think from the perspective of the law,
just crowding a polling center.
Yes, it is expected. Why you find IBC already designating party agents, election observers, and security personnel is to guarantee the aspect of free and fairness of the process. So when you crowd, then you are making a mockery of these clearly defined and designated persons. DCP will have its agents. UDA will have its agents. Jubilee will have its agents. Don't forget we have election observers, locally and internationally. Don't forget we also have the security personnel who are verified having their space there. And then you have the electoral officials being there. Why is that done? So that you are no longer, like you're not seeking to impede. If you crowd the polling station, so where is the guarantee of the voter to access the polling station to vote? Number two, where is the guarantee of peace and tranquility for the same vote to be counted freely where the agents can be able to verify? And that's why I'm saying the biggest innovation that we ever got that should give all parties the aspect to be calm is, by virtue we've said what is counted, what is voted and counted at the polling station is final, is enough consideration. What ideally Gakuya and DCP team are doing is that they are trying to muddy the waters so that you are now forcing the government side through the Secretary President to react. Then once you have commotion, if indeed DCP is extremely popular and sure that they're winning, why would they then interfere with the voter casting the vote? Why would they interfere with the process? Why the suspicion? Yet it is already clearly defined. In fact, the parties were part and parcel of the briefing. Okay. In fact, DCP was on notice saying clearly that it should not even be postponed by an hour. So why do you want to muddy the waters? Yet it's clearly provided they'll have their agents.
Thank you for that clarity.
Yes,
Actually,
I am not. Listen.
Okay, let's allow him briefly.
I am not anticipating that. In fact, we will be inside the polling stations, because in a polling station, it's only those people who has been allowed by IBC to get in. But you are outside. Go so that anything that might arise, you can face it.
So they will be outside? Because we had the senator for Nyandarua saying...
Is it not impeding the voters to vote?
Yes.
What my good friend here is doing amounts to incitement. Because the moment a leader says we are not going to leave that polling station, the voters will listen to them. Then they will do as per their leaders, but not as per the law. Wakili has put it very clearly. The procedure of voting. And if that is the law, and you want free and fair election, and you want the law to favor you or to be respected, why are you not respecting it yourself? Why are you inciting people or telling people, don't leave after voting? Because what you are trying to do is to build a mayhem whereby people are voting and they're still staying there. And you know, when you have a crowd around an area which has some laws and procedure on how the exercise should be undertaken, if there will be destruction, either by so many things, either by noise of these people or whatever, and that will erupt the emotions of the people who are doing the work. So you will be interrupting the process yourself, which you are demanding it to be free and fair. So if you cause this trouble, then you go back again and start saying the election was not free and fair, and you are the one who has caused it. It is totally wrong. And those are the things we need to refrain ourselves from. And as leaders, we need to advise our people. Kindly, we have enough agents. And if you don't trust those agents, why appoint them in the first place? You appoint them because you trust them that they will do the job you want done. you trust them that they will oversee the counting of the votes. And actually, if we have a better law for our election, it is this time, which states the results of a polling station are final. So there's nobody else who will say anything else. And those results becomes final when they have been signed by the agents of all the parties or the people who are participating into it. So if you have people controlling that process, why are you now inviting other people to come and shield or make, whatever you want to call it, or keep a vigil or whatever it is? Why do you have to do it? Whatever the opposition is doing amounts to inciting people to come and cause mayhem so that they have a reason to hold on.
Bwanagakuya repeatedly talks about an incident where CS accessed a polling center. Is there any need for these senior officials to be anywhere near any voting process?
My take on that, if the CS are accessed, maybe he had credentials to visit. Maybe it's also a voter. Let us not even cascade. They are also voters. If a CS has a right to vote,
but he didn't only remember.
And maybe, you cannot become a voter, then you cannot be given your right to go and vote.
I think he was referring to Ruto in Bere. He was a voter in Bere.
The CS was a voter in Bere.
Yes.
But in fact, where he intruded, it was not his voting polling station. And he invaded, and he inserted a teller. Everybody was terrorized. Was that not criminal? What are you telling us?
Why did you keep quiet with that information?
Listen to what
if we want a free and fair crowd, it must apply to everybody. And we cannot have double standard in this. And if we would like us to be completely obey, everybody should be completely obey. And none should be allowed. Because they do not special men in this case. And what we are saying, we are all equal in law.
Is there any indication that something like that could happen?
Not at all. Actually,
all
this is just
in fact, it is through experience that we would like this matter to be addressed by IBC. They have today and tomorrow before election. They must apply to this matter. Then they address it. Because they are the one who are supposed to tame and give a crowd which is conducive. And therefore, they should address it. That we are not going to allow anybody to intrude in all the polling stations.
Okay. Yes,
I think it would be better for DCP to spend its energy in mobilizing its voters to turn up. Why I'm saying so is because by-elections...
We have done our job.
By-elections have a notoriety of...
we have done our job.
Of less turnout.
Yes,
so I would wish the energy...
The campaign is already terminated.
In fact, he is fighting imaginary enemies and thoughts that possibly a CS will intrude. In Bere North...
And because we have an experience.
I'll come to you.
The CS Ruku was a voter. Actually, it was his polling station. That's where those hue and cry. But at the same time, IBC was able to rein him in that as soon as he voted, he was told, you can no longer be able to stick here. Which I think for tomorrow, Kalou has no minister. There's no CS from this administration that is a voter in Kalou. So that can be put to rest. Number two, if there is a question as who put out there that they will not leave, it is DCP through Methu. He's the one who said we are not leaving the polling station. So what does that entail? They will even impede their voters from voting. What I'm seeing is basically emotions running high, and that is common when it comes to elections. I've participated in party primaries, which is even worse when it comes to such apprehension. At least for IBC, there is structure, there are regulations, and importantly, a hotly contested by-election like this one, where the media, I don't think we will lose the place of the fourth estate in dictating and giving live coverage towards the voting, including, for example, TV47 with your live on location. So what I'm looking at, which I think DCP should be comfortable with, this is one by-election. Previously, during the Bere North, we had almost 3, 4, 5 by-elections. This is one by-election. All eyes are on Kalou. All eyes are on the process. IBC, under the new chairmanship, is also staking out its place. Is he not happy that IBC has gone out of its way? When they complain about the clip that went around about Mr. Gekaria, the honorable member from Nakuru Town East, Did IBC not act on that immediately? Had you not seen where now semblance of peace coming in from both sides? So that tells you this is a test for IBC to test run where you have a charged election, where you have battleground hotspot like this one. This is a good space that we are, that we are going to question. So I agree with Mutambu that it's not time to give insightful or more or less to be apprehensive. I would rather them assuring their supporters and say, be vigilant. That is okay. I agree with him. I agree with Gakuya that you have to say out, be vigilant, but not to say we are going to barricade.
Yes. I have an issue, and I want us to address it briefly because there are so many rumors about instances that could end up as voter suppression. That yes, many people would want to come out and vote, but probably there are agents who may want to influence people not to show up to vote. Do you have any such concerns?
One, let me say, wherever there is a smoke, there is fire. Remember, at the last 3 days of closing the campaign trial, the campaign period, we have witnessed several number of irregularities in terms of campaign irregularities, where a team of a policeman chased a Saudi vehicle for the DStv candidate from Captain, an area known as Captain, all the way to Gilgil, shooting the vehicle, tear gassing the vehicle, with no any single claim that there was anything that that particular Saudi has done. Number two, yesterday, 3 vehicles, candidate Kega from Orkarau all the way to Orjorok. He was supposed to hide to a particular bomber around, and he left the vehicle which was shot by bullets. And this tells you what? We have a case of a hotel allowed Orkarau there, where DCP team was terrored during a particular night. And I'm telling you, even their phones were confiscated. And let me tell you, this kind of chaos are indication that there is an authorized team around which is using Goonism method to overturn the result. And this is why we are saying, how do we stay away when already we have an indication that you guys, you are ready to bring what you call diversory kind of actions. This is where when we are saying, it's only an IBC you can give an assurance, and we have 2 days to go, so that we can be able to get out of that particular that particular field completely.
There are serious questions around security. The issue of goons that he has talked about, what we've witnessed during campaigns. If that is witnessed, and there's already fear that there could be such on voting day, do you think that that could result in voter suppression? That many people, voter apathy, for example, that many people may not show up?
As I answer your question, I want to appeal to my good friend here to cool his tempers.
How can I cool my tempers?
It's a figure emulated. Let me talk about you. You are a figure emulated by many.
When
let me talk. Let me
you are telling me to be.
And in this country, many things happen. And until you get to know the truth of what happened, you cannot just start accusing or finger pointing others. Because we have seen so many things here, stage managing of events, stage managing.
Don't tell us that.
I have to. No, it cannot be Wakaguya. You have to learn. It cannot be whatever. It cannot be whatever you are saying is the right.
Let's allow him.
Let's allow other people to speak their mind. I have, and I'm speaking as one and
allow him his time.
Who knows things happen in this country. I do understand people. So many things have been. I'm saying.
Let's allow Bwana Mutambu to finish his point.
People do stage things, stage manage things. I know that. And if you don't know that, then you live maybe in utopia. It happens in this country. We have seen it. We have seen it happening in this country. People just stage managing things for a reason. And I'm not saying Kakuya. And I'm not saying opposition. It can be stage managed from
you are
any
saying
corner.
What you have been seeing.
What we see in this country, Kakuya.
What you have been seeing, or Karao is stage managed.
You know, now,
that is your conclusion.
One thing, it is important to debate with someone who has a level of understanding.
It's your time now. Let's just allow him to finish.
Because
I am just accusing your defense line. Aye.
My defense line is on the fact.
It's his opinion. He should
And
be
it is
allowed.
my opinion, and I'm entitled to it.
Yes.
If you feel agitated by opinion, then that's you. But I am entitled to it. And just like you. And it cannot be everything good.
Unaenda kutafuta kiti hata wewe. Na utapangiwa.
I have no problem.
What does that mean, Bwana Gakuya, that atapangiwa?
What do you mean?
Is that a threat?
Is that a threat now?
I think for them,
is
for
that
them,
a threat?
Let's
That
not-
means now
let's not take
they
that
are
route.
also planning for others. Because kama Kaguya, you can stand on a national television and you tell me nitapangiwa, then am I safe? Is my life in danger? Is my life in danger? I wonder. No. There are some things we don't even think of uttering as leaders. Because when a leader tells me, and I know
I withdraw.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for withdrawing. And I mean, you've just withdrawn up to the point where you think I would be pangiwad from.
I think DCP.
No, let's not take that route. Let's be cordial and allow each other an opportunity to
But anyway,
speak.
it's my body. I have no problem, and I can take it as on lighter note.
Okay.
What I'm saying is this: let us not agitate our nation because of imagination. We are just imagining that this will happen, that will happen, and it has not happened actually. And when we just hold that fact, this will happen, and we tell our people, don't leave the polling station. Do this. We must protect ourselves. It's like we are living in a banana republic where there is no law and order. I can tell you we have thousands of Kenyans who are law enforcers, and they are very well trained and very disciplined, and they do their work effectively, and that's why we are enjoying the
If you look at the front page of the Standard, it talks about that. The police bosses, police IGs there, the PS in charge of security, and the CS in charge of security. And this paper is calling into question their ability to guarantee security, to protect lives and property, including during elections. Yes, it is a real concern that violence could be used to affect the electoral process. Does it concern you, Akili?
Absolutely. I think we've been on a slippery path. When I was a student at the University of Nairobi, I think Goonism was part and parcel of our student electoral process. And at that time, it was at that low level in the sense that you didn't see it going national. And subsequently, especially during party nominations and party primaries, where each of the bigger parties, especially ODM, was always struggling with that bit. If you remember the famous Men in Black during the ODM general meeting in Kasarani, sometime back in 2014, I think. So those were always pockets of cases of Goonism. But what is of surprise that it has gone national? It's now mainstream. Areas that you wouldn't anticipate or processes that you wouldn't anticipate would attract this level of organized violence is now here with us. So I think the Ministry of Interior under my friend Kipchumba Murkomen now has a real challenge in its hand, in the sense that the law appreciates or expects that the person with the monopoly of violence is government and can only be exercised by licensed officers, in this case the police officers, both from administration police or the Kenya police and even plainclothes. So it is expected that they are the only ones who can maintain law and order. The moment we privatize that particular aspect of security, then you are heading to a slippery path. What I'm saying therefore is that, and I think as we head to the by-elections tomorrow, this presents a test of its kind, whereby the government then has to step in and completely stamp out the issue of Goonism, because Goonism has a way of finding its way back to its masters. They say today they'll fight the opponent, but then they'll turn their guns, whoever pays them more, they'll turn their guns on the person. Or even the person who hired them, if he fails to properly or sufficiently remunerate them, then they'll turn their heads on you. Then most worst case scenario is that then you mainstream it by making it a thing. So that every political person, as we gear into these elections, all of us here are politicians seeking to vie for positions. So does it mean, as I prepare to go vie back in my county of Nandi, then it would mean I should also prepare Goons as part and parcel.
Are we not there yet?
That's why I'm saying the danger is once we mainstream it, especially towards an electoral process like tomorrow, It has been a case of this.
The by-election is actually on Thursday, the day after tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes. And the People Daily actually has this as a main story, and they have that image of Goons in Kisumu this past weekend. And they talk about descent into chaos. That we've gotten to a point that this has become so normalized that it's part of our politics and the electoral process. And they lay the blame squarely at the doorstep of President Ruto. They say President Ruto and the goon violence now. Bwana Gakuya, are you concerned that this kind of chaos that we've witnessed even during the campaigns could rear its ugly head again during the by-election itself on polling day?
Idimoli, you witnessed what happened in Nyahururu and what faced Kangata and his team, right from the church they were servicing and back to the political rally that they attended. Out of that, his bodyguard was shot. And therefore, it tells you these are not normal goons. Because when there is an exchange of gunfire, it tells you this is more than terror. And this kind of events and actions tells you that we are insecure. And there's no way that somebody can tell us he's giving 100% guarantee if in the Republic of Kenya, goons are operating as if they are free and as if they are normalized. And this is not the first time we are complaining about goons. We have seen goons escorted by security agencies in this city where we believe. Goons ahead with what we call jembe handles. And to date, you have not had any single case where these goons has been taken to a judicial process. This tells you these goons are known, they are taken by cameras, but nobody cares. And tells what? They are formalized by the state. And unless the state comes in and fights the same goons, then we are in trouble. And let me tell you, a country where we are not assured of security, and that's why we are saying, how can we trust an election? And we are being told to stay away completely. And then we have an experience where the security officers has been working. They have been in bed with the goons. And then you are telling us that we are so free, we are so fair, and we are so comfortable, and in a very comfortable zone when we live completely out of the polling stations.
All right. This is a question we're asking our viewers, and we now want to join our reporter in Mombasa, Quinto, talking to the residents of Mombasa on this issue, the challenge we are having with security and what needs to happen. And it's not just around the elections. There's an obvious rise in cases of armed robbery. And the question is, who's doing anything about it? Are we right in calling out these three gentlemen, the CS, the PS, and the police IG? Or, like the People Daily, call out the president himself and tell him, you can end this? Quinto, over to you.
Thank you so much, Fred Indemoli. I'm streaming to you live from Mombasa. This is in the island, Mombasa CBD. And here I'll be speaking to members of Bunge la Wananchi here at Majengo, just to hear what is their take concerning the issue of political goonism. Or goons are working just hands-free and no action being taken. Now, even residents here are asking, who is to be blamed and who is responsible, who is to come in so that we ensure that all these issues are tackled accordingly. Joining us, karibuni sana. Hapa tuanze nawe chairman, anza tu kwa jina, utueleze jina wetu nani?
Mimi naitwa Jeremiah Nyaga na mimi ni chairman wa bunge hapa. Na ile kitu mimi ningesema, mambo ya goonism ni kitu ambacho hata Wakenya wenyewe wameshindwa na kuelewa hii kitu inatoka wapi. Lakini tukiangalia vizuri kabisa, hata kama mimi nikiangalia kabisa naona hizi mambo ya goons ni kama serikali inahusika na goons. Na hata vile wanazungumza mambo ya opposition, tunaweza kuhusisha opposition. Sisi tunaona hata opposition haiwezi kuwa na hizo pesa nyingi za kumwaga na vijana wengi kuwapatia pesa ndio waende wakaharibu mikutano. Halafu sasa tena tusaona juzi tu makanisani pale, wakati Gachagua walikuwa wamehamiwa kwa kanisa, niliona polisi, gari ya polisi imesindikiza hawa wa goons ambao watu wanatoka na marungu kwa gari ya polisi. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni kitu ambacho ya kuonyesha kwamba hizi goons ni vitu ambayo serikali inafadhili watu wawe wanaleta kasia katika election.
Kulingana na wewe sasa, iwapo kile unachosema ni ukweli kwamba ni serikali ndio inafadhili, unahisi kwamba mbona serikali ifadhili hao goons? Kulingana na wewe,
serikali kwa kufadhili goons ni kwamba wanataka furugu, wanataka kufuruga hii amani, manake hawataki election ifanyike 2027. Wanataka 2027 ikifika kila mtu amejitawanisha, watu kila mtu wachana na kila kitu, watu wamepatwa na uoga. Hiyo kitu ndio wanataka kuingiza pale, uoga mbele. Sasa ni lazima na sisi mimi naweza kuambia vijana kwamba waache kutumiwa, hata kama ikiwa ni opposition, ikiwa ni nini, waachane na hiyo mambo ya kupewa rungu uende ukapige mwenzako. Ni makosa makubwa sana wa pale.
Asante sana. Vile vile tusikie mwingine, karibia tu hapa, uanze tu kwa jina, utueleze jina, unaitwa nani?
Mimi naitwa Koingasho.
Koingasho, tunaona kwamba visa vya goonism vinazidi siku baada ya siku. Kulingana na wewe, ni chanzo ni kipi cha kuwa na hawa goons?
Chanzo cha kuwa na hawa goons ni kwamba kuna hawa watu
Angalia kamera.
Watu wa serikali. Hatuwezi kusema ni watu wa serikali peke yao, lakini hata watu wa upinzani vile vile. Kwa sababu wewe kama una sports goons katika upande wako wa eneo la bunge, nimekuja kufanya mkutano katika eneo lako la bunge, hutaki nifanye, unaniletea goons. Ujue ya kwamba apewa ukija kwangu nikufanyia hivyo hautakuwa sawa. Na ikiwa tunaelekea upande wa election, hiyo kitu sio sawa kabisa. Kwa sababu tukianza kuiletea mambo ya goons, hatutafanya uchaguzi kwa haraka.
Tuseme ungekuwa na uwezo, ni vipi ambavyo ungefanya ili kukabili haya magenge?
Kama ningekuwa na uwezo na kama mtu wa serikali, singeruhusu mambo ya goons. Maana tungeliangalia hata juzi ile goons wengi unaona wanasindikizwa na polisi. Sasa polisi si ni wa nchi, na nchi si ni hawa serikali. Kwa nini goons wasindikizwe na wananchi? Wanaenda kwa makanisa wanapiga watu, wakiwa kwa mikutano ya opposition wanapiga watu. Wanafanya vile kusudi kwa nini? Kusudi waonekane opposition ni watu wabaya. Na upande mwingine pia hawa watu wa serikali wakianza mikutano yao, wana sponsor goons waenda vuruga ule mkutano kusudi waambiwe ni opposition. Sasa hii mambo ikiendelea namna hatutafanya, nchi yetu haitakuwa na amani, hatutakuwa na uchaguzi wa amani, na sisi kitu ambacho tunataka ni amani. Wewe kama hutaki mwenzako afanye mkutano na ni mtu wa opposition, ujue unampandisha cheo. Serikali, namalizia, serikali ingewacha watu wa opposition wafanye mikutano yao kwa amani. Wakati wa 2027 tujue mkweli na mrongo ni yupi. Wananchi wenyewe tutachague bwana mwandishi.
Ushasema. Tusikie vile vile mwingine, karibia tu hapa, tusikie sasa kwa kijana. Serikali inasema ni upinzani inatuma magenge. Magenge yanasema ni serikali. Nani wa kulaumiwa katika hali hii?
Jina naitwa Nyalum. Wa kulaumiwa aswa ni huyu mwenye anajitoa kuwa yeye ni goon. Kwa sababu ni siasa, na hii si mara ya kwanza. Kumekuwa na Mungiki. Na Mungiki tumeona vile Mungiki walikuwa wanatumiwa. Yote ni siasa. Na yote sote ni wa Kenya. Sasa mwenye analaumiwa ni huyu mwenye anajitoa anakuwa goon kwenda kumaliza Mkenya mwenzake. Mimi huyo ndio namlaumu wa kwanza. Na mara nyingi kitu kimoja yenye anafaa jue ni kwamba haijalishi anatumiwa na serikali, haijalishi anatumiwa na mpinzani, lakini mwishowe yeye ndiye atamalizwa kazi. Leo anachukua panga anaweza kukata mwenzake, lakini yeye baada ya kishamaliza kazi yeye pia atamalizwa. Sasa ajue tu kwamba chenye unamtendea mwenzako hata wewe utakufikia, malipo yako itakuwa ni hiyo hiyo.
Asante sana. Asante sana. Hayo ni maoni ya wakazi kutoka kaunti hii ya Mombasa, Fred Ndimuli. Wengine wanalaumu serikali na wengine wanahisi kwamba wewe unayejitokeza kuwa ama mmoja wa hilo ama wa hao ambao ni magenge, wewe vile vile ni wakulaumiwa, manake mbona uende umtendee mwenzako unyama. Kwa hiyo wakati watu wanalaumu serikali ikilaumu upinzani, ikiwa ni ile hali inaitwa blame game, lakini swali la aliyetoa maoni ya mwisho anasema kwamba mbona wewe ukubali kununuliwa ama ukubali kutumika kusababisha vurugu ama kumpiga huyo jirani yako ambaye huenda akakufaa. Kwa hiyo ni maoni ya wakazi kutoka kaunti hii ya Mombasa. Yote 9-10 tunatumai kwamba uchaguzi wa Kalou amani itashuhudiwa na njia mwafaka zitaweza kutumika ili kukabili visa hivi vya vurugu na vile vile kukithiri kwa magenge ya ujambazi katika taifa hili la Kenya. Kutoka hapa kaunti ya Mombasa, mimi ni Quinto Wafula na regesha kwako studioni Fred.
Asante sana Quinto Wafula akiwa pale Mombasa. Asante and for talking to the bunge la mwananchi there. And we get to hear what Kenyans feel. Bwana Mutambu, it's obvious that Kenyans are directing the blame, according to the few that are spoken there, to security chiefs. Same as what the Standard is saying, that these people on the front page are the ones who have failed because they have the responsibility to ensure that this kind of goonism or obvious criminality is contained. Do you agree with them that yes, CS Murkomen should actually carry this burden?
If history is anything to go by, and I've been in this country for some time now, I'm almost clocking 60, so I've seen it all. I don't imagine any either CS, IG, or PS who has never been criticized in that office. I don't think there's anyone who has been who has received flowers for even if they do their best. But it is like we don't appreciate our own. We cannot deny the fact that there are a few elements of insecurity in some areas.
A few?
Yes. Not all. You woke up and you are home and you are here. What happened to you? Everyone here, we woke up from our homes and we slept well and we are here. That means there was security around where we live. And these thugs, they know us very well. We know Gagwea wears a 5 million watch and he has not been attacked. So we need to give credit to that. And if we all complain our lives, at what point shall we be happy with ourselves and with our government and with our officers and with our sons and daughters who work for us tirelessly? You know, I cannot just say these guys are just nothing. They are doing nothing. And when we just blame, cover just a blanket of blame to them, it means that we as Kenyans, we don't appreciate our own. There, and I repeat, and I know there are some elements and some pockets of insecurity in this, and it should not be there in the first place.
Are you satisfied with the kind of action that either of these three gentlemen have taken on this particular issue of goonism? Because that's where we are talking about.
I will give a reference to where I come from. Actually, people of Mwingi Central, and I want you to conduct a research. People of Mwingi Central were not sleeping, were not attending rallies, were not doing their social activities because of goonism in Mwingi. I can tell Kenyans today proudly that people of Mwingi are now sleeping comfortably. They are attending rallies, they are attending funerals, and there is no goonism in Mwingi Central. The government, through the police of Mwingi, and I'm reporting, and they are listening to me, and I would want anyone to come and tell Kenyans Mutambu lied. Today, there is peace in Mwingi, and I have every reason to thank the police of Mwingi and the police in general for a job well done. That is in the records. And you can even call anybody randomly in Mwingi, and they'll tell you, we were not. And let me tell you, who was the mastermind of this goons in Mwingi? And it's in the record. I can tell you, we have more than 100 files of goons arrested in Mwingi who are aligned to a particular person who actually is not even a government friendly. He is opposition. Okay? And he terrorized the people, literally terrorized the people.
Where was the security in charge then?
That's what I'm saying. They have woken up. They have done their job. They were not doing it. But now they are doing it. So I give credit to them.
Good job, well done.
So I think the focus shifts to, as you say, the three gentlemen, the interior under the leadership of the CS and the PS Reo Molo then have an opportunity. This one, actually, I think it's an opportunity for the team a year into the election to stamp the authority on this. Why I'm saying so, it would have been worse if you were talking about next year when elections are already underway, then you have this menace rearing its ugly head. So this is a major opportunity for the police to stamp the authority. And one of the things you can credit the police with is that they are always informed in advance. If you look at the statements that were issued after the incidents of Kisumu and Kalou, the police said that they were aware and they were informed of potential disturbances. And for example, that's why in Kisumu, before the goons could even enter into the church or break the security cordon that had been put by the Linda Mwananchi guys, the police were there in place. And this tells you it then needs the aspect of there must be a very small turnaround period. Actionable intelligence at the hands of the police should then be immediately channeled into. If you saw the incident in the one for ACK Cathedral here in Nairobi, that was a telltale sign that there should never be a gap, because by the time the police show up and the goods have already invaded a place, it then portrays a bad image of a police service that were caught napping. And yet at all instances, one thing you credit the police with, they always get the information. That has never been a problem. So how then can they close the gap between getting to know, even if it is speculative in nature, what measures do you put in place? So for example, if you look at Nyandarua tomorrow or the day after tomorrow for the by-elections, you will find that the police service has deployed a significant number of officers owing to what has happened the past 1 month and significantly the last 1.5 weeks. So for me, it's a question of an opportunity for that. And the leadership at the interior this time gives a promise, because this is a young, energetic duo. Previously, you have interior ministers being older, but this is a young, energetic duo that then it is more or less like a generational new team that then has an opportunity to stamp the authority and confirm and deliver that Goonism cannot be a story as we get into the election phase. If they get it right, for example, from the Kalou by-election, but subsequently the next 3 months, which I think it's a question of narrowing the gap between getting the information or the actionable intelligence and acting in advance and even picking up individuals. I saw something when there was the protest for the Sabasaba Day. As Governor Orengo was trying to address, the police pounced on one of the person standing there and said, "This is a goon." So that tells you they know. So why can't it be a plus then, whereby the information vis-a-vis the action should be instantaneous, so that even if it is known that tomorrow goons are planning to invade a place, and then the politicians to be put on notice? Because for me, I feel if we have this to be just a security problem, but we don't address the political cultural component of it, it's a zero-sum game.
Yes,
so if the political class can take responsibility and the police then offer objective security, then you have a win-win situation.
Yes, Bonagakuya, it is true, and you must agree that politicians are the ones funding this problem, that most of those people who pay goons are politicians. You've found the necessity to each one have their own small militia to probably facilitate your movement. Do you believe that going forward, because the trend is rising, that probably, unless politicians stop this, we are going to be experiencing this dip into the elections of next year?
Edimori, I want to differ, and I want completely blame to take the blame where it deserves. There is no way that a taxpayer's money can be used to pay our security agencies, right from the top, the CS himself, his CS, and the whole team of the Secretariat, then the IG and all the whole battalion. And then as a Kenyan citizen, you are not secure. We have witnessed various number of areas where there is a laxity completely in terms of security measures. You can't tell me that in Cathedral, those goons who came in actually stated that very clearly that they were inside with an uniformed police. And when they realized there is what we call cameras, they were advised to completely get away. And after that, there was 1 or 2 who were arrested. Did you know what happened? That case was thrown out even before it was taken to court. Why? Because the system wanted to conceal the matter, so that that politician, who is well known
So it's back to the politician.
No, who is well known, who is supposed to take action. Laws has to apply equally. There has no double standard. Unless that politician, he's against the law. Yes, and arrest the goons too. That is your job as an officer of police. Unless you are working under state under state care. If you are working for a particular reason, and this is a stake. And that's why sometimes we say, if the state wants everything to be aligned, it will be. But when the state want to deal with, to sleep with some goons like this, these goons are secure because it's a politician who will make a call.
Yes.
And he will make a call to IG.
So it is politicians who are the problem.
But let us agree. Yeah. What does IG have to do?
Yeah. But you must agree, Bonagakuya, that it is you politicians who have found the necessity to have this
politicians are the ones who
militias in place.
They're the ones who mobilize and fund them.
There is one case I want to say. What's the job of state? It is to secure people, their properties, and the constitution. Who, therefore, even if you are an IG and such a call comes, then you ought to resign.
Okay. Final comments. About a minute each for your final comment, Madam.
Whether final or not final, you know, we have to work within the laws. And the police officers, they work within the parameters of the law. And the work, as he has rightly put it, of the police is to protect Kenyans. And when that person you are calling goon is walking free and he has committed no crime, is still a Kenyan, and there is no way police will attack or arrest somebody by the way they look, or by the way they are dressing, or by the way they are walking, until a crime has been committed. So even if Kaguya today walks in this street with 100 men behind him, and they are not doing anything unlawful, we cannot just go and arrest Kaguya and arrest these people because they are walking in the street and we just assume they are goons. No, those are Kenyans. You only become a goon once you act like one. You only become a criminal once you commit a crime. So there is no way that police officer, you expect that police officer, because people are in town, to come and just sweep them and collect them and put them in the cell, and yet they don't have any evidence of wrongdoing of these people. Whether they are criminals, whether they are what, whether they are good, you cannot do that. The police will not do that, let me tell Mr. Kaguya. Until a crime has been committed and there's evidence to prosecute them into court. There's no court which will just receive people by the name by saying that these are goons. You have to prove that they are goons, and you have to prove that they have committed a crime. So, Kaguya, whether you get agitated or you don't get agitated, police will not arrest a free walking Kenyan in the street and brand them as goons. They will not do that.
Okay.
But Indimuli, before you give to Akimi,
because of time,
interject. What can we call those guys with arrows walking to a church in Kisumu? What can we call them?
Organized militia.
Organized militias. Whom can we accuse? Should a police officer wait until he's been instructed to go to do his job? Surely.
There was a politician who mobilized that, that group. So let us put where the blame lies. Number one, the first stage, politicians mobilize. Number two, the police to act. That's why I was saying, first thing first, once it is established that the political class is mobilizing goonship, then the police service can be able to act. That's why I say it's a two-way traffic. It takes two to tango. And the first thing it should be done, the police need to act on actionable intelligence. But why should we get to a place whereby the police are always on the point of trying to protect something that can be stopped, because it's a political culture problem. If we go mainstream, and as I've said, we are all candidates seeking to vie for political offices. If it means that we have to basically go out of our way to mobilize goonship, then that becomes a misnomer. And it is not just because elections are local in nature. I'm seeking to participate in the county politics of Nandi as a candidate for governor. What is the problem with that? If I'm going to do what he's doing, he mobilizes in Nairobi, I mobilize in Nandi, he mobilizes in Mwingi, it becomes a political culture problem. So why don't we change that perspective and start from the source, the political class, to actually undertake and affirm that none of us is willing and seeking to mobilize goonship in our political activities, then the police would only be having a simple job of giving security. But if we are creating the problem and then we lay the blame on the police, then we are part and parcel of the problem. So the police, on the other hand, can they then deal with actionable intelligence on time? It would then even deter political class not to think about it.
All right.
Thank you.
Anything to add, Bonagakuya? Final word.
My final word is that the security must do its job. Because what we are overseeing is that the situation where the government has not taken any single action with all what has been called attacks, a goons attack, including Wetima, everywhere, where cameras have these people does not vanish to Uganda, does not vanish to Somalia, they live here, and most of them are police officers. And you want to tell me that to date, an IG has no report to know this Land Rover came from what particular station, and what was the team carried by that particular Land Rover, and that could have given Kenyans at least some clue and confidence that it can be security. But when everything that has striked is concealed, then it tells what kind of hope do we have? Right. In fact, I would like to sum up by saying we are heading to Haiti way. And that is what the headline is talking about, of standard. And that is wrong, that we are taking our officers to keep peace in another destined country, when locally here, we're in this state. It is a bad state, and we should not be hearing any single justification from an IG. IG should take action against anybody who is against the law, whether he is a billionaire, whether he's a politician, whether he's who.
The irony. That's the front page of the Standard this morning. They say they sent Kenya's finest officers to tame Haiti's gangs, yet back home, murders are rising, civilians live in fear, and the president's own security has become a subject of ridicule. And they have the images there. CS Kipchumba Murkomen, PS Raymond Omolo, and the IG of Police, Douglas Kanja. The People Daily goes further and lays the blame squarely at the doorstep of the president. They say, Mr. President, end this violence. That has been the biggest discussion this morning. Asante sana Wakili Joshua Kipto, Bwana James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North, and Joe Mutambu, former MP Mungi Central. That has been our panel this morning. Asanteni sana for your time at TV47. After the break, my colleague Ann Odida will be having a different discussion on matters World Youth Skills Day. Do stand by for that conversation. I'll be coming back later for another conversation, even as we continue. A lot more still in store on TV47 Breakfast.